I might just start jumping into the charts, guys. Been a lot of stuff happen over the last week, but as far as where the price is now trading, it's relatively the same for Bitcoin. And some alts. There are some that have been struggling quite a bit, and I'll probably talk to that to begin with. The first one being Solana. Solana's experienced a fairly decent sell-off. This is on the weekly chart. We're now into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into its sixth red week. And it's really coming into some support where we are now, provided I've got my fibs right. Yep. So coming right into the high time frame, 50%. This is of the entire cycle from the $8 low, and I haven't got that snapped on with the magnet. It's just sort of a guesstimation, but it's close enough. Right up to the all-time high at around nearly $300. That price comes in at 151, and we can see we have wicked below it, and it's sort of bounced back up, but it's really struggling to reach it, to hold the level, I think. It got down to 150, and we're sitting $3 above that level at the moment. For Solana holders, we don't want to see it start trading below this 150 level. That's gonna create even more weakness against Bitcoin, and it's gonna really start to struggle moving forward. I did warn about this a couple of weeks ago, saying that I felt Solana was starting to show quite a bit of weakness. I think it was when it was testing this horizontal line around 170, and that's sort of come to fruition now. If it does start trading below this level at 150, it's going to start looking to test some of these lows over here, and there is a fair bit of structure to sort of play off. So we've got 134, 120, 110. They're the first sort of three layers that we look at for support to come in. Below 110, it does start to get a little bit dicey, because as we can see over here, it did move quite rapidly. From below 110, we've got $80, and then there's really not a lot of trading over there. There was in the bear market during that period. Down to that $80, we've got a fair bit of trading over here. But even below 80, down to about that $50 mark, it's sort of fresh air. I don't think it's going to get down that low, down to that $50 level. Not unless we're sort of turning into a bear market. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did get down to around that 120 if Bitcoin was to have a bit of a sell-off into that 80K region. I think that would sort of be expected for it to start coming down and testing these lows over here. It's really not that far away. And we've started to see a bit of a rotation for Solana into Ethereum as well. So green candles means Solana's gaining against ETH. Red is Ethereum's gaining against Sol. And so since around the middle of Jan, we can see it put in its high, and then it's sort of just been capitulating down ever since. The major point here is to hold this low. If it fails to hold this low, then we're going to start looking at some lower levels, down here type of thing. This is a pretty important level, because we not only have this low over here, but we've also got the tops, which were acting as resistance on 3 occasions. So this one will be a bit of a let's play and see let's see how it plays out. I'm almost of the mindset now with Solana that it may have seen its peak for this cycle at that 296 level. It can still go up, and it probably will still go up, but it's just a matter of whether it's going to breach that all-time high that it's set or not. I just feel that the liquidity is rotating out of Solana. there's been a lot of focus on pump fun lately with how many memes are getting created each day. I think it's like 10 or 20,000 tokens each day are getting created on Pump Fun. There's also the Lazarus group ever allegedly using Pump Fun to funnel their dollars that they've been hacking from exchanges. They're linked to net. I think Zach XBT linked Lazarus to the BingX hack, Femex hack, which was only a week ago, which I had no idea about. The Bybit hack, amongst many other hacks that they've done over the year. So with Solana, it's a great chain, but it's been getting pumped on the hype of memes. And so if that hype of memes is sort of dissipating and going away, it leaves me to wonder, well, what is left to keep Solana hanging up with such a high market cap? Because it's huge in comparison to other chains, with the exclusion of BNB. It's streets ahead of ADA, of Near, Ton. It's like at least 4 or 5x most of these chains. Actually, it's probably even more than 4 or 5x, to be honest. I'm sort of just spitballing here. So for it to come back down to earth, it would be sort of expected if they're losing that edge over the rest of the market. So that's why I think Solana may have run its race. We are going to see, it's not just going to be straight lines, it is going to fluctuate up and down. This is against Ethereum, but even against USDT, it is going to fluctuate up and down. In the last cycle, we did, let's see if it will take me over there. Right, so I made this high up to 220, had a really big sell-off of pretty much 50% of the price, and then it came up and made a new all-time high. And throughout this period, whilst it was selling off, it had pumps up. Even so much so, when it got down to $80, it still had another pump up after that, up to about 150 or 140. So it does give you opportunities to exit positions, that's for sure. By this point, it was well and truly in the bear market, though, for Bitcoin and the whole crypto space. So it might not be over yet, but I'm starting to lean on the side of I'm really struggling to see a new all-time high made, particularly if we start getting below this cycle 50% level. Even once it gets back above it, it's just going to have a lot of steam taken out of it. Moving into BTC. We'll stay on the daily for a second, actually. So this was the first. I had two key levels here circled. This one here is getting above this trading range. Second one is the high since the low. I know it's in the same candle on the daily, but when you go down to the 4 hour and the 1 hour, the low comes first and then the high comes second. We did poke above this trading range, but we only had a single daily close, and then we had volume coming in and selling off back below, which isn't great. That's a bull trap, or a dead cat bounce, however you like to look at it. But falling back into the range means that we're going to come down to start testing the bottom, the bottom part of the trading range, which is where we're at right now as we speak. I have got a little fib drawn here, and we have gone through, which is the 786 and the 886 just here, has gone through the 886, which doesn't sit that great. It leans to that these lows are going to probably be claimed, and we're going to start looking to test some of these lower levels that have been set. But until it is broken, we've got to look at the chart for what it is. We've got high lows being produced. So until it is broken, we have to assume that this is going to be a high low. And, until it's broken, that the structure is still intact. It does seem, though, to me that there is an opportunity here for us to sort of break down further within the next sort of few weeks. And if that was to sort of play out, I think that's going to bring extreme fear into the market sentiment, using the Alternative Me website. And that would cause for a really good continuation of this sort of sentiment reset that we are seeing. I think as a whole, it would actually be quite healthy for Bitcoin to do that. And if that was to occur, I'm probably going to start readjusting where we could potentially see price go to, because it buys more time. It's going to extend out how long this cycle is going to go, or perhaps not extend out how long it's going to go. It's going to extend out where I thought it was going to peak. I had been talking about March for quite some time, which still can happen, but it is definitely running out of time. I'd like to see about three to 4 weeks of moving up to reach the peak. So if we were to sort of take off this week, then that would put us towards the middle end of March. I still don't. I think I've missed the mark on this one. It's one that we're going to have to be watching closely. But if we do sort of fall below, provided that we hold 79K, I think it could extend out to the second half of the year potentially. So that's sort of where I'm sitting with Bitcoin at the moment. It's a little bit in no man's land, but I'm starting to move away from my thoughts of a peak in March. I know March is around the corner, but if we do see sort of a flood of money start coming back in, and we're starting to push up and push out, which can definitely happen. We do see a lot of pumps towards the end of the month. If we do start to see this moving out in the next few days, March is definitely on the cards still, towards the end of March, even early April. But if we're still sort of doing this sideways business, come the start of March is not going to be a peak. It's going to be down the track. If we see a breakdown, but we hold 79K, 80K, then we could be looking at that towards the end of the year, even 2026 perhaps. The reason why is we've been running sideways now, you could argue, since the middle of December. Or if you want to count this high over here, the middle of Jan, though it really just had a run up and then fell straight back down. So that basically falls inside this range. We're going sideways for a long time. The longer that this happens, the more sustained move up what we're going to have, that's going to last for a longer period of time. What we see typically in bull markets as they near the end is when you get these corrections, they might be very volatile and sharp, but they're not long. That they lose their time, but the time that they're correct gets shorter and shorter and shorter as you near the end of the bull market. And the reason for that is there is just so much hype around, that there's always going to be extreme volatility. But because there is so much hype around, it just keeps moving up to the next level, moves up to the next level, and it doesn't get time to sort of reset, and get that healthy correction in. And so you have these very large, these very big players that are holding or absorbing a lot of buying and a lot of long positions, and then all of a sudden you get a massive snapback, and that's sort of how it spells the end. So the fact that we're getting a nice long healthy correction leads me to believe that we've got more upside to come, and it's going to be sustained. This can still be distribution though. So if we were to drop down below 90K and start trading between 90 and 80K, this was definitely distribution. It's just not macro distribution. It's a more of a shorter time frame distribution, where it's distributing, it falls down below, and then it starts entering into an accumulation phase below 90K, above 80K. And when it enters that accumulation zone, that's when it takes off again. So we could be in this little sideways bit for some more time yet, if it breaks these lows at 90K. If it holds where it is, we could be imminently ready to break out. So that's sort of where I'm at. We now have another top to watch, in that being these tops here. Well, we want to see that broken, trading above. We start trading above here, we're going to be looking to a breakout. If we start getting below this 93K level, that's going to be the canary in the gold mine, that we're coming down to test the 91K low and the 89K low. And that's all it is. Each time you break a level, it's a warning shot that, hey, we're going to be coming down to sort of test the next level. You break this one, hey, we're going to come down and we're going to start testing this level. We break down from there, and we don't have a lot of trading over here. 85K would be almost like your last hope. And then we've got the major 50% at 79K. I don't have that on the screen, but I'll chuck it up and put it in the Discord. So that's where things sort of sit for Bitcoin. I'm still cycle bullish. I am starting to get my shorts on, get my bear hat on, purely just because we are getting towards the end of the cycle. I'm not entering any shorts, not looking to enter any shorts, but definitely getting prepared for the end. And another reason why I don't think we've topped just yet is with this Bybit hack. We saw a bit of selling off, but it was relatively. It didn't. The markets really didn't hit it. Didn't get hit too much. Not compared to other hacks that I've seen historically. And this is the biggest crypto hack that's ever taken place, I believe, as far as dollar value goes. Normally, if we were in a bear market, the sell-off would have been a lot more extreme than what it is. But what this does do is it provides an opportunity for the bull market to continue, and it has the opportunity for it to continue and allow alts to sort of take over. The reason behind that is we've now got Bybit. I think they bought around half of what got hacked. They've bought, and the other half they've taken out a loan for that Ethereum. So effectively, they are now holding a short position on Ethereum of around $700 million, which is not to be sneezed at. That's a massive position. And when you get these massive positions, they're the ones that get hunted. So it wouldn't surprise me to start seeing Ethereum moving on up to put a bit of pressure on Bybit. It's interesting that a lot of the people that have loaned the Ethereum to Bybit are other exchanges and market makers. They're the guys that are in the position to move the price up and take advantage of Bybit's situation. And especially from an exchange's perspective, like MEXC, Binance, etc., Bybit is their direct competitor. They might be putting on a front that we're all mates, we're helping them out, but there could be alternative motives going on here. But that's going to take weeks, if not months, to play out. I've got to give it to Bybit. They've handled the hack really well, but they've lost me as a customer. Crypto is volatile and can at times be scary enough as it is, and I don't want to be potentially caught up in a situation. So we'll have to see how that one sort of plays out. I'll just see what's going on in here. Yeah, that's right, Zenon. Euphoria is when those time ranges of correcting get shorter. Um, and it's because you get massive entities that are just getting so damn bullish. Last cycle, there was 3 Arrows Capital were in a 2 billion long 10x long position that they entered. I think it was around 60K. When Bitcoin hit 60K, they were entering into a $2 billion long position. And that's where the ranges we're getting shorter. Massive entities opening up these huge positions, and sort of inverse to what I was saying about Bybit, that then creates a bear market opportunity because you've got a massive amount of liquidity to the downside that can be chased and liquidated. And Three Arrows ended up getting liquidated for that $2 billion, or it was over $1 billion, whatever it was. It definitely wasn't the catalyst, but that was just an example of where people are getting extremely bullish. There would have been so many in a similar situation to that. Celsius, FTX, like it's all of it is that the reason why they went bust is one, probably fraud, but two, it's greed in the wrong direction, and they just get essentially fucked. I might just touch on Sweat because it's been crazy the past couple of weeks. Excuse me. Crazy to an extent, but back to where it knows best. Massive pump up on huge volume up here, and it's just sort of capitulated back down to where it's been trading sideways for the last fair while. We did get another pump up, and that was just sort of met with more selling, and it's really been struggling here. Trading back at its extremely pivotal level at 0063. Don't want to see it fall down below. Obviously, I shouldn't have to go into the reasons why, but it's been holding this level for quite some time, and when it has gone below, it has not spent much time at all below that horizontal level at 0063. So if it does get down below 2, 3, maybe 4 days max, but you want it snapping back above and hopefully moving on upwards in the general direction. Not much more to say on that one. NEAR, it's virtually where it was a week ago. Ethereum's probably a good one. So Ethereum's holding up, not too bad. It was really struggling with that horizontal level. I haven't added any of these in. These have just been sitting there for God knows how long. It's coming back down. Looks to me like it's going to come. It's going to come down to fill some of this week here. So I suppose the general direction at the moment is probably down. To be completely honest, just how things are sort of tracking sideways, it just looks like from an indicator perspective, it had its dump and now it's dropping sideways, getting that reset for further down. But we don't know what's going to happen over here. It's just purely from looking at it. It looks like it's creating how it was sort of moving up. It's creating liquidity below this low. So we could just get a shallow pullback, to be honest. That is definitely an option where it just comes down, taps to 50%, takes out the low and snaps back up. Or we do also have the range low. When it does snap back up, it could then reject down. That's kind of how I'd be looking at it. But it definitely does look like it's going to sweep the low over here. It doesn't have to fill all of this week. I mean, coming down to here would be a fairly large portion. The closing, so I'll show the closing candle. The closing candle is all the way back up here at 28.70. So that would, this 50% level, and I don't even know where that's drawn, I'm just referencing it, that 50% level would actually come to roughly halfway, half of that wick, which is fine. That would be enough. Where is that 50% drawn from, though? Okay, so that's a cycle 50%, that one. So this 50% level is the cycle 50%, extremely important level that we don't want to see much trading below. It's the exact same idea that you apply to from Solana through to ETH through to Bitcoin. It's the exact same sort of story. Of levels that you don't want to see breached. You just apply the same methodology to all of them. I'm going to leave that drawing up there, and next week when we come back, we can have a look at it and see how this played out. I'll piss myself if it's just gone big green dildo to the upside. But yeah, I think something like that. I actually don't mind this as a sweep, bounce, and take off, because that would bring quite a bit of fear into the market. And then if it takes off, there'll be a lot of people left behind, because I'll see this low over here and thinking that it's going to come down to the low, and it just may not. So yeah, that could be quite interesting, but we'll see what happens. I think that probably draws us to a close for today. We'll just got to tune in and see what happens over the next week. See which way we're going to break, whether it's to the upside or the downside, and then make necessary adjustments to suit. So, all right, guys, take it easy, and I'll speak to you in the Discord.